know if you'll see it in the video as well. Right about here, I can still see a hint of kind of pinkish purple. Same with just a hint up in here, and just a few hints in there. Not sure if you can see that on the video or not. But if you do still see a purplish fringe around the edges of things after turning on this checkbox, we have some additional choices. And it actually works for two different colors. One is purple and the other is green. Those are the two kinds of fringes you might still see. So if you look at the settings in here, there are sliders. And we have two of them that are kind of grouped together, amount and purple hue. Amount means how aggressively do I have to try to get rid of the purple stuff. And so I'll try to bring that up and see if the image changes. And I saw it change right away. Don't know if you guys can easily see it or not, but I'm just looking at the edge of this and looking right there. And when I brought this up even a very small amount, that edge just cleaned itself up. If it didn't, I could try to define what range of purple it should work on. Because if I had other purple objects within this photograph, I might notice the edges are getting less colorful. And I could drag these little sliders to define exactly what range of purple where I'd like it to work on. But there's another easier, simpler method of doing all this, where you don't have to think about sliders and stuff. All you need to do is you turn on that checkbox called Remove Chromatic Aberration, and then there's a little eyedropper. Click on the eyedropper and move your mouse onto the area where you can see the purple stuff. And now when I mouse over that, you can probably see the purple in that zoomed up part if you couldn't see it on the video. All you need to do is click here, and if I try to get into the most purple area, it's going to figure out how high of an amount would be needed to get rid of that, and it's going to change the purple hue sliders to try to isolate that shade of purple. So if you watch the sliders on the right side, when I click, did you see 3 sliders change in position to try to compensate for that?
That is so cool.
If I still have any purple left, I'll go to the most purple area and click on it. But in this case, it got rid of all the purple fringing. You can do the same general thing with green. If your mouse was over a green area, it would instead be moving these sliders for you. Don't have an image handy that happens to have a green fringe being left when you have that. Now, the main problem you can run into with doing that is if you ever have an image that has a purple or a green object within it. On the edge of that object, you might see that it becomes less colorful because Photoshop assumes that there's a problem with the image and it tries to compensate for it. If that ends up being the case, what you can do is go to the adjustment brush. And in the Lightroom 4, they have a choice in here called defringe. And by using that, you can paint it on your image only where you need it. And this defringe doesn't just work with purple and green, it works with any general color of color fringing around the edge of things. So if you had it, you could come in here, bring up defringe and paint on it. Or you could try to bring it down to try to remove any defringing that's applied from the edge of a purple object that doesn't need it. But I just want to make sure you knew it was there. So there are all sorts of images you can correct with lens corrections, and it's oftentimes pretty wild how big of a difference you can make. Let me reset this image to see what it looked like. Okay, this image I corrected in a previous version of Lightroom, but if I choose undo, you see the difference? I'll just reset, which gets rid of all my adjustments. It was fisheye lens, I believe, and I can reduce the distortion. Same kind of technique we used on the image that was from Abu Dhabi. And so I find lens corrections to be great, and even if I don't notice anything in my picture, I will frequently turn on the little checkbox that gives you the color defringing. So what that means is going here under lens corrections, clicking on the color area, and just turning on remove chromatic aberration, because the vast majority of images I have, the lenses that I use, produces those little halos, even if they're small. Sometimes I don't notice it until later when I'm about to make a print or do something else, and usually have that on. All right.